Hello guys, welcome back. On the 23rd of January Valve released a patch and I'm going to talk about the changes made in this patch. I do have to say I don't know all the specific weapon changes yet, but I can talk about the few I know. So they released a changelog and there are a few major changes. There has been added a new game mode, Deathmatch. As you can see, that's where we're at now and that's where we'll start. The weapon balance and recoil were adjusted with feedback from the pros, which is good, I think. The ops kill reward has increased from 50 to 100. Yeah, it says a major change, but I don't think the effects will be that great. Of course it will help if you are an AWPer, but it's not a lot still. The Glock is a terrorist only weapon, the 5.7 is a CT only weapon. The terrorist molotov price has been reduced to 500 and they changed the arrangement of the pistols in the buy menu. Well, we're going to talk about all those things next. I'm going to first show you the new game mode and give my feedback of what I think of it. So, this is the new chicken. What's the chicken doing on this map? I never saw a chicken here, or maybe I did but didn't think anything of it. Anyway, this is the new game mode. You can spawn with a random weapon, or you can buy a weapon at the start of your life. So now I can buy a weapon. I want to have the M4. If you press F1, then the random weapons are off. If you press F1 again, the random weapons are on. And sometimes you have those bonus, as you can see it. You can see at the start if you press G or something. In my case. That you can get some bonus points. It's a really chaotic game and I do like it, but I do not like it as a traditional deathmatch. You would only go into a traditional deathmatch if you want to warm up. Now I can respawn with the P90. Bit chaotic. There are lots of sounds in the game, all those and if you make a kill, which I have. Right, this is not one. Maybe if I have a double kill or something like it. Right. People are invulnerable until they shoot, that is. So sometimes you can wait for them to shoot. There's a lot of little noise, and I think this is more a casual deathmatch. Feels more like traditional deathmatch games, like maybe in Call of Duty or Unreal Tournament, for example, because this game is not about warming up, it's about having fun and getting the most kills. Okay. Right, now we're going to talk about the biggest change, and that is the weapons. I'm going to start at the counter-terrorist side, because you can't buy the Glock anymore, and on the terrorist side you can't buy the 5.7 anymore. I think the P2000 remained the same, and you can buy it. I don't know why you would do that. Oh, I guess you can. Right, it has a price, but doesn't really need one. The duels has remained largely the same, except for the fact that they increased the damage just a little bit. Very slightly, and the 5.7 has remained somewhat the same. They also increased the damage a little bit, and I think the armor penetration, so it does more damage against people with armor, and they decreased the cost from 650 to 600, which means you can buy it first round and still buy a flashbang. However, I still think this is a bad weapon. It's very expensive, and the PP250, where we'll go next, will probably do a way better job, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure. The 5.7 was never used traditionally in Counter-Strike Source, for example, and it hasn't been used at all in CSGO, but decreasing the cost just might make it a little bit more viable. The P250 has a very big change. They decreased the cost from 500 to 300, which means you can buy the weapon and buy a grenade and a smoke. I usually bought at the first round P250 and a grenade because a flashbang I mean. I usually bought it the first round to buy the P250 and a grenade to go with it, but now you can buy a flashbang as well, which I think is a very big change and make the P250 an even more viable gun, which can be used on more rounds, because you would, if you're a terrorist for example, you can you had to go with your Glock if you wanted to have a flashbang and a nade previously, but you don't have to do that anymore. The Glock has also increased its potential, we'll go to that later, but the P250 is also way better. The accuracy is a little bit lower, and I can't really show you that. I can shoot at the wall, but it doesn't really tell the difference, I think. And the damage in range has increased. So if you're shooting at long range, the bullet will do less damage, but it will do more damage than the old P250 would. All these data I'm getting from some table, and I'll link you that in the comments so you can read that as well. Next up is the Desert Eagle. They changed its position, a little bit annoying. I would normally go chuck to buy it, or maybe just press 4. It will give you the 5.7. Well, Desert Eagle, 800 starting cash. I don't think it's a viable weapon to buy first round. The damage is very high, and as you'll see shortly, the accuracy is also quite high. But I think a grenade and a flashbang are worth much more than simply having a good pistol with 7 bullets. However, this means that if you're on a deco round, so not an eco but a deco, the Desert Eagle will greatly increase your chances of getting a kill, because the accuracy is much higher and you can also spray with it, and it will do more damage. Body shots will do more damage. So if I spray at this wall, if you do it as fast as possible, it won't go like that. You see? But if you take just a little bit time between the bullets, it will go very tight. This is insanely good. Really insanely good, because it will still kill in one shot, so I don't know. I think it's a very nice weapon now. Maybe a little bit overpowered, but then again it costs quite a lot. 800 isn't little, and you won't buy it the first round, I think. But very nice that the spray is like that, and I'm looking forward to using the deal again and getting some really nice headshots with it. Then the P290. The P290, I'm not sure if it received a damage nerf, but I think it did. It now does just as much damage as the MP9, the starting SMG for that example, and also as the PP Bison. You would think that the MP9 is just as good as the P90, because if you look at the stats, the movement rate is even higher, the accuracy is the same, except for the armor penetration, which is higher at the P290. You would think that this is a way better weapon. It is, because it's so cheap, but not as much as you would think. Because if you spray with this weapon, it goes very hard to the left, very hard to the right. So if you want to control that, it's hard, because you suddenly get a jerk to the left, which shoots a bullet way out of the center. If you, however, want to control it with the P90, then it's a lot easier. Nice burst in the center, and not as much bullets to the side as on the other weapon. So the P290 is still better than this weapon, but I still hate it. It's very expensive. It has a default kill reward, and I honestly don't think there's any reason to buy it now when playing competitive. Maybe if you want to have fun and rush in a casual game, but if you want to win, I wouldn't buy the P90 ever. On to the terrorist side, where we will first talk about the Glock. The Glock has greatly increased its damage. According to the table I've linked in the description, it has gone from 25 to 39, which is a lot. The accuracy is a little bit less, but and the distance or the damage over a long range has increased. I think this is a really nice change. The extra damage makes it so you can shoot a little bit more slowly. You don't have to spray, and you can just go for like 4 or 3 body hits. And the Glock is quite accurate. Even if you spray, it's just a little clump of bullets. Quite accurate. Very useful as well. And the burst, I think, has been a little bit less vertical and a little bit more random. I don't know. Seems nice. I like the Glock. I think it's a very nice starting weapon, and then if you learn how to use it, if you learn the accuracy and you learn the fire rate, it's a really nice weapon where you can pick up some very nice kills with it. Because it's very accurate. Right, we've already talked about the duels and the P250, which is, I think, the main starting weapon as a terrorist, or the Glock. One of those. If you have the Glock, you can buy a smoke grenade. If you have the P250, you can only buy 2 grenades, or 1 grenade and a flashbang. With the Glock, you can buy them both. Yeah, both of them are quite a viable choice, I think. The Tech 9, they increased the cost to 600, and they increased its fire rate a lot, but the accuracy is still crap. So you can spray the Tech 9 almost as fast as you can click, but the bullets go absolutely everywhere. So I don't know what's up with this weapon. If you might have to use it on close combat, on close corners, because if you do that on a long range, nothing will hit. Even if you shoot slowly or slower, then the bullets are not coming together quite nice. If you shoot really slow, then the bullets will, but then again, this weapon has 30 rounds, so the purpose shouldn't be to shoot slow like that, or 32 rounds even. But shoot a little bit faster, but then the bullets go everywhere. You might be able to learn the recoil, but then again, it's still quite expensive. It costs 600, so I don't think it's a viable choice to buy. And the last up is a change that might be with the AK, because if you shoot bursts of 2 bullets now, the second bullet won't go exactly in the center. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it goes a little bit to the right or a little bit up. Which means that if you're fighting at long range, I think it used to be better to just shoot bursts of 2, but I think it's now better to just single shot and try to aim for the head. But this is a minor change to the AK, but I think you need to adapt your playstyle. But you also can't shoot bursts of 3 bullets now, because yeah, that was always already a problem, but now it gets even worse. If you see that one, 2 bullets at top, only 1 in the middle. So yeah, you really need to single shot if you're fighting with the AK on long range now. And one last thing, they decrease the accuracy of weapons on ladders, which means it makes it very hard to shoot on a ladder like it should. I mean, you shouldn't be able to shoot at a ladder any decently, so they changed that as well. The accuracy is way worse when standing on a ladder now. And that were about the changes. It might be that I missed some, because as I said, this update is very new and Valve won't release, or hasn't released yet, the specific weapon changes themselves. So we need to find everything out ourselves, and that means I can miss a few things, because well, it's very difficult to notice these very small changes to weapons. The big changes are obvious, but the small ones are a little bit more difficult. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.